He-Man
and the Masters of the Universe.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? So today I want to talk about my complete He-Man and Skeletor figures. I actually pieced these together over time so they'd be cheaper in the long run. I mean, anybody could go up onto eBay and just buy a complete He-Man or a complete Skeletor, but they're going to pay for it, you know? Whereas this, good things come to those that wait. And, you know, it took me, I want to say probably 3-4 years to put these together. If not, actually longer than that now that I think about it. He-Man there. Yeah, so I would say probably about 7-8 years is what it took me to put these together, because I did it as slowly and as cheaply as I possibly could. Like, He-Man there, pretty much everything there is from a different He-Man. Like, one of his arms is different, his torso is different, his head is different, the peg and his neck is different. He has a new He-Band for his legs. His legs are different than his, crotch section or whatever. And his sword is different. His armor and his shield and his axe actually came together. So those could be from the same He-Man. And then, of course, he has a little stand there. That was separate, obviously. And then Skeletor, I bought his staff separately. I put a new He-Band in him. And I had to get his crotch armor. I had to get that separately. His sword came with him. And then his chest armor I actually found in a lot of Masters of the Universe figures. He wasn't in it, but that armor was. And so, yeah, quite a few different figures all put together there. And I just kind of wanted to talk about how easy it is, just in case you want to do something similar. So this He-Man here, his head didn't look this good when I got him. I painted him, but even then his paint is rough. I gotta fix that up. When I first got this head, I'll just go by the head, because this figure is also a combination of figures as well. He had no paint for his hair, and then even then, it's the paint that I put on there isn't perfect. But and then he had no paint for his teeth, and so it looked like he just had like a mouthful of nothing. And he had no fucking eyebrows, and like it just he basically was just a skinhead, but not not a Nazi. He wasn't a Nazi, but he you know what I mean by that. Okay, he was flesh colored hair. Let's say it like that. So yeah, like fucking, I did paint him. He does look significantly better than he did. But if you look at this torso, his punch function is broken and he's shaking. And I don't know how to fix that. I looked around and it doesn't really look like anybody had a really good solution other than breaking this molding apart, which I don't really want to do. But all the rest of the problems are pretty easily addressed. Like the the arms, they just pull off and they snap back into place like that. Easy fix. And so this one, you can see that the thumb is actually bent. Like the tip is off, and so he won't hold the sword properly with that hand. And yeah, I don't like that, because I like to have the shield on this hand, because this hand just kind of slides right into the shield perfectly. And then the crotch piece on this, like, look at the paint on his belt. That's amazing. Looks really good. But it's attached to this, and so there wasn't much I could do about it. I did, however, trade out the legs, because the legs on that one back there are really nice. And these are kind of missing some paint and whatnot. They don't look too bad, but they're missing some paint. I did put a new He-Band in this. And, He-Bands are essential, man. Like, if you're going to collect Masters of the Universe figures, you need to replace the He-Bands, because the legs go loose over time and they won't allow the figure to stand on its own anymore. And that was what was wrong with both my He-Man and my Skeletor initially, and I hated that, because I wanted to be able to display these, so the He-Bands are fairly inexpensive, and they're really easy to work with. It seems intimidating at first, but don't be intimidated. Just look up some videos. There's different methods to replacing them. Like there's the one where you emerge or submerge the he bands into hot water and then pull them out and work with them after it's been in the water. And then there's also where you can use a blow dryer to heat up all the different elements, and it makes it easier to work with. Personally, I just use the hot water, and that worked great. I used tweezers and a small flathead screwdriver to shove them in there. I mean, the way I did it is I shoved one end of the he band into one leg, and then I brought it through the inside of of the crotch area or whatever, and then brought it through, and then you have to kind of pull it. And so I used some really small needle nose pliers and just kind of pulled it, stuck it in there, and then used the needle nose pliers to kind of shove it into the leg the best I could. And then once it was in there, but not all the way, then I went back and I kind of stretched it like this, and then fucking hit it with the small flathead screwdriver, and that will do it. And then just go around and look in there like that, and just make sure that you got that new he band in there correctly, or all the way, I should say. And then once you do, you'll notice that the legs will just kind of snap into place, right? And you can just you can stand him just like when he was brand new. Of course, He-Man, his legs, his feet have to be just right. But once you get him into position, he will stand, as you can see. And so it's really not that bad to fix these up. Like if you look at these are just minty. Like this guy's Skeletor's sword is bent, and so I don't really like to display him with the sword. But yeah, they do still have some imperfections. They're not totally perfect, but the face on this He-Man is just great. I mean, that's pretty much as minty as a He-Man gets. I mean, yeah. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, these both look like they're brand new, and I'm very happy to have them in my collection. And I like these little He-Man stands too. If you happen to see one of these, it's just like a little piece of plexiglass or some shit, or plastic or whatever, and they etch He-Man into it. I need one for Skeletor. I mean, you don't really need it when you have good He-Bands in your He-Man figures or your Masters of the Universe figures or whatever. But they are cool to have. It does add a little bit to it. And yeah, I mean, overall, I think I maybe have $20 into these things. And so, yeah, it's really cheap if you just wait and you just find what you can for as cheap as you can. Even if you went onto eBay and just picked up a naked He-Man and his accessories all separately and everything, it's not going to cost you as much as it would cost if you found him complete. Alright, that's enough out of me. I just wanted to try to give you guys some ideas, let you know that piecing together Masters of the Universe figures is actually really easy. It's a lot of fun. It is a cool little hobby. And, like I said, good things come to those that wait. And anybody can go onto eBay and buy complete He-Man or a complete Skeletor, but when you actually take the time to piece them together like this, it just makes them mean so much more to you. And it's so satisfying to see both of them hanging out on the Mattel Intellivision like this. And, back in the day, I had He-Man and Skeletor complete, and I had an Intellivision and everything, and I never did actually put them on top of the Intellivision like this, but I did have them near the Intellivision because they were all a big part of my life at the time. And so to have all of this like this right now, just, oh yeah, extremely satisfying. I have the power. And so can you. Go get it. It's easier to achieve than you think it is. Until next time, guys. Later. Amen. Crotch.